Channel, this is Mimi Talks, and today we're going to be talking about the Naziah Harris case. Please leave your opinions down below and tell me what you think about these videos.
I'm not a lawyer, but I am a mother, and there is a case out of Detroit that has absolutely broken my heart. Let me tell you everything you need to know about why this man has been charged with the death of this 13-year-old little girl. And yes, it's what you're thinking. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is that this is a circumstantial case. There's no body, no weapon, and no eyewitness.
Correct.
It says that the cause of death remains unknown, which, Judge, obviously Ms. Quick is getting to one of the main issues in this case and one of the big questions in this case that I anticipate is going to be a defense argument.
We all know that that's one of the big issues here in this case. So I will admit it with your objection noted.
A little bit of context to set you up. This is Naziah Harris. And in 2024, which is the year she went missing, she was living with her grandmother, Annette Harris, her aunt, Shannon Harris, and her aunt Shannon's 5 children. Naziah's biological mother was not in her life.
Now, you are Naziah's maternal grandmother, right?
Correct.
You're also her adopted parent, right?
Correct.
And you said you adopted her in 2016?
Yeah.
Is her birth mother still around?
She is.
Okay. Does she have a relationship with her?
No.
She doesn't have any type of relationship, no contact with her that you know of?
Well, let me say this. I don't deal with my daughter, so she really didn't have no contact with Naziah like that. She only came around now and then.
Now, the father of Aunt Shannon's 5 children is this man, 41-year-old Jarvis Ramon Butts.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
How many kids do you have?
5.
And do all your kids have the same dad?
Yes.
Who's their dad?
Jarvis Butts.
Jarvis has apparently like 13 kids. He works as a mechanic and he owns an auto body shop with this man whose name is Cordell Wright, aka King. And this body shop that the two own and work at is not too far from where Naziah lives with her grandmother. Police say that on January 9th, 2023, Naziah gets off her school bus, but instead of heading home to her grandmother's house, she instead heads toward Jarvis's shop.
It is January 9th, 2024, 2:54 p.m.
Now, before she reaches the shop, Jarvis and King see her as they are on their way back from picking up a part from the auto store.
On our way back from AutoZone, I believe we forgot something. So we ended up turning back around, going back to AutoZone, grabbed whatever we forgot, came back. And on our way back, we was coming down Harbor. Jarvis said, "I see my niece right there. She walking." We pulled into Angel's liquor store. I still didn't see her. He pointed across my face, said she right there. She was coming across the street at that time. She got in the truck with us. She spoke, "Hi King, hi Jay," and we proceeded back to the shop. We started working on the Jaguar, putting the parts back on.
Now, multiple people testify about seeing a little girl with Jarvis on January 9th, the day she went missing, including Jarvis's own sister, who brought her car up to the shop that day.
And what's the reason that you went and talked to Detroit police?
I had reason to believe that I saw Naziah the day she went missing.
Okay. From the very beginning, where is it that you think you saw Naziah?
At the shop on Harbor Encounters.
Okay, and whose shop is that?
My brother Jarvis Butts and his partner.
What's the reason you were at your brother's shop that day?
Something was wrong with the car that I was driving, and I just needed him to check it out to make sure it was safe for me to drive.
Okay. Do you recall about what time did you go to Jarvis's shop that day?
About 4 p.m., give or take a few minutes. So I was sitting outside of the shop in my car because they were working on another car on the inside. As I sat there for the time that I was there, I kept seeing a little girl get in and out of his truck, going to the gas station and going back to his car.
Do you get a look at this little girl that you see getting in and out of his car?
I saw her as she was walking. I never saw her face. I just remember her having on a colorful jacket.
Did you know who this little girl was at the time?
No.
And did you ever ask Jarvis who the little girl was?
Yes.
And what did he tell you?
He told me and I can't remember if it was this exact word or he said it's my partner's niece, or he said it was King's niece.
Okay, but you knew who he was referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Did you think anything of it at the time?
No.
Okay. Okay, and what is it that made you think something different?
I received phone call, a video call from one of his kids' mom. She told me about some things that happened on Valentine's Day, and then she sent me a video of a podcast about my brother.
So, based on those, do you go and talk to someone else?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you go and talk to?
His partner, King.
Okay.
After I mentioned to him that I had only saw my nieces and one particular little girl, he then told me that that was Neziah that I saw that day, and I was there.
What is it that you did after speaking with King that day?
I called Shannon Harris and I asked her for Sergeant Jones' phone number.
Okay. And,
Whew. So again, January 9th is the last time that anyone's seen or heard from Neziah, and Jarvis is the last person that she is confirmed to have been with. Which leads me to the second thing that you need to know about this case. And that is, while the case is circumstantial, the circumstances are pretty strong. This picture of Neziah was taken the day that she went missing. And pay attention to her glasses because it turns out Jarvis asked one of the mother of his children if he could borrow her car. But when he returned it, he left something in there.
when is it that Mr. Butts borrowed your vehicle?
January 9th. He called and asked if he can use my car to do something with his son. I didn't get home till about 9 o'clock, and he came to my house to pick my car up.
Is that 9 a.m. or 9 p.m.?
9 p.m.
9 p.m.? When did Mr. Butts return with your car?
The next morning.
Was this normal, abnormal?
No, not normal.
Not normal? Okay. Did you notice anything in the back seat that was different?
There was a pair of glasses that was left that my son was playing with at the time. I believe they were clear around the frame part. I don't know what the ends look like, but I do remember they were clear around the frames.
Okay. So you're at the shop. You see your son playing with the glasses. You take them from him. Mm-hmm. Is that yes?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now, tell me, what does Jarvis do?
He snatched them from me and said those were his son's glasses.
Okay.
Police also looked into Jarvis's phone location data to track his whereabouts and conduct some searches along those lines to see if they can find anything connected to Neziah. And they did.
As we did our workup and we're looking at different locations that Mr. Butts had been to, as we start breaking down the phone mapping a little bit more on Mr. Butts' phone, it kind of led us to 7 Mile and Berg. So 7 Mile and Berg, there is, it used to be a golf course, which is now shut down. And then on the other side of Berg, there's a parking lot where it has like a vacant building, which used to be the clubhouse for the golf club. And then right behind that parking lot is the Rouge River. We searched the complete river from 8 Mile all the way down past 96 on foot with cadaver dogs in boats in the water.
What evidence did you find?
We collected a pink jumpsuit, like bodysuit style, and then a black hoodie that had a pair of white headphones in one of the pockets, some gloves, a towel, and a pair of red, black, and white gym shoes. That is one of the black, red, and white gym shoes that we collected from the wooded area. That is the black jacket that was collected. It is towards the front of the photograph, kind of behind that tree branch. So yes, that is the paper and the pair of headphones that was recovered from that pocket.
Okay.
So that's going to be the hood of that hooded jacket. We noted that there are several holes in the jacket of unknown origin. That is the pink jumpsuit that we recovered.
So how close was the Rouge River, I guess, to the area that you were searching?
So there was a large parking lot just off of the west side of Berg, and then there was an embankment leading down to the river. I would say less than 500 feet.
Come back for part 2 of this recap. Welcome to part 2 of the recap on what happened with Neziah Harris.
Now, the last thing I want to point out concerning these circumstances is that police also believe that they have a motive. Here's a little bit of Neziah's aunt Shannon testifying about some of that.
Can you kind of describe the relationship between Neziah and Jarvis?
Should be just the uncle and the niece relationship, no more than that.
And to fast forward, On January 21st, 2024.
Officer Gardner came to pick up Naziah's tablet. My mom asked me to put it on the charger. I put it on the charger. The tablet, before the tablet was picked up, I looked inside to this tablet. So the first thing I went to was Instagram, which I was scrolling. And I seen Jarvis Butt's Instagram page. I clicked on his page and I seen 2 messages.
Were the messages of a sexual nature?
No.
Okay.
It was 2 sent pictures, but you can't really make anything out. It wasn't nothing there, but you know, it was a picture was sent. Called him while he was at work, asked him, what is these messages I seen between you and my niece? And he said, what messages? Said it's 2 particular messages that states out in this picture. And he stated that, I don't know, on these messages, I told him what the messages were, and he said it was probably our children was messaging him. And I stated no, because I know how our children will text.
All right, now this is your warning. Police did access messages between then 12-year-old Naziah and 41-year-old Jarvis Butts, and it's bad. Really bad.
September 27, 2022, 1:54 a.m. She sent a message, where are we doing it at your choice? A message is replied to Jarvis, it says basement. The message is sent to Naziah from Mr. Butt's phone, saying, can you suck my d please? And make sure you erase the messages. Go change your clothes and take your panties off. Are we doing it tonight? I'm ready, fresh out the shower. You coming over? Don't have school. Asking, you coming? She receives a message from Jarvis that says, stop messing with people and just be mine. I'm finna go to lunch, love you. I can't stop thinking about you either. She sends a message to Jarvis. Hey, you may think I'm ignoring you, but I'm not. My phone broke. Are you mad at me? Please don't be mad. Can you tell me why you mad at me, yes or no? He replies to her saying, I haven't seen or talked to you. He had sent to her, I'm at your house. She says, damn, we was just there. You bet not be in my room. He sends her a message that says, I stole your panties. Didn't I make you come faster than ever? Jarvis, I'm sorry for making you mad, but do you ever think how I feel knowing that I can't have you to myself? But you have me to yourself, and no, I'm not seeing anybody else, I swear. Then you going to hit it from the back again? Send me some pictures, please. I want some pussy. And the name on here that she has this number saved is Bae for life, B-A-E, the number 4, and then life. Are you naked yet? Come on, Bae, I'm sorry, just not in the mood right now, I'm sorry. I didn't sneak out for nobody, I swear. I know you're having a rough day, but I swear I'm not lying. Why won't you believe anything I tell you? I'm not like other girls, there is no need for me to lie to you. The meaning is, you're mine and mine only, the and all you're mine and will stay mine. Go take them panties off. He sends a message to her that says, I'm trying to can I get my dick sucked today? I just want your body on mine. We doing something or what? At 0123, she replies, I want to lay with you. He replies, I'm going upstairs. She sends, okay, Shan going up there too. Give her some so she can shut up and leave you alone. She only acting like that because she's horny. Come downstairs so I can sit on it real quick. You was right, it hit different outside. Do you like your girls skinny? That's messed up because I was gonna f the shit out of you. I still want you to do it. August 4, 2023 at 22:07 hours, Naziah sends to Jarvis. Shan and Nana left. Jarvis replies, okay, what you saying? Naziah then replies back, what you think I'm trying to say? I want to try something. A threesome. You down for it? Thinking about you. My period haven't came at all. Hello, you there? It have not came. Jarvis replies to her, since when? Since I was in the hospital. That was last month. I'm scared. I don't know IDK. What to do? I have to go to the doctor's TM for tomorrow. You said that you took a pregnancy test and it was negative. She replies, it did. Jarvis then replies, so go get another one. I can't. I have no money. 1443, she says, you ain't scared to get a plan B, get a pregnancy test, and bring it later today. Just act like you have to use the bathroom. 1456, Jarvis replies to her with, okay. September 27th, starting at 21:26 hours, Naziah sends, but are we still on for Friday? Jarvis replies, yes. What we doing though? At 21:49, she sends back, Jarvis replies, seriously? Naziah replies, yeah, what else we gonna do? Jarvis replies back to her, where? It now jumps to October 21st at 19:05 hours. Naziah sends, "Hey babe, I need that plan B today." Jarvis sends her the letter Y.
And now jumping to November 27th.
Naziah sends, "I just want to talk. I really don't want to lose you. I don't what's your problem, but I need you to bring me what I need tonight. It's hard doing all this gym shit with this baby. And if I don't do them, I'm going to get a F." January 9th, 2024 at 14:21, Naziah sent to Jarvis, "Don't forget to be there before 3. I will let you know when I'm leaving the school. If you're not there, I will wait. Send okay if you've seen the message so I can delete your number." Jarvis replies, "Okay," and those messages were deleted.
There was no further communication between Naziah's text number and Jarvis's number after January 9th, 2024, 1 year ago today.
Yes.
All right, so all of that leads me to the final thing that you need to know about this case, and that is that it hasn't gone to trial yet. Everything I just showed you is from the preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is when prosecutors get to present their witnesses and evidence in front of a judge, and that judge gets to determine if there's enough probable cause that this case should go to trial. And that's what happened for Jarvis. The prosecutors presented everything that I showed you and more to the judge, and not only did she determine that this case should absolutely go to trial, she also had some words for all of the adults that were in Naziah's life.
I have to speak on Naziah Harris and the community who failed her. From what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life, no presence. To Cordell, aka King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Naziah, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up the shop. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a 1-year thing. There are text messages at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Naziah's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Naziah was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions. And how were there 2 women in that house who had birthed children themselves who did not notice that Naziah was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore? And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand, and she learned around 6 p.m. that Naziah did not come home from school, and said she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Naziah going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Naziah, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Naziah or having any indication that she was coming home that night. As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count 1 as it's been stated that there is no contention with counts 2 and 3. In count 3, I will amend based off of the motion and the testimony I heard that Naziah was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her. The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texting. No social media for a year. We heard through testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony. No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural cause of death. While this is still probable cause, The evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His locations, him being seen with her last, the abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages, and the constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Desire. It went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she's dead and she was murdered by Jarvis Butts. Mr. Butts, stand up. You've been sitting over there for 4 days with your head down, sitting between and behind your attorney with your mask on and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention and listen to everything I have to say. I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days, you. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony, you were just a true definition of a pedophile. Watching you laugh and brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them, and having them in your presence, cleaning up your shop, and the little girls around you, has landed you here today. You groomed Desire. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much at such a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear. And to think that she has you saved in her phone as bae for life. Desire deserves so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you are the monster in this whole picture. She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like. Your children deserve more. As much as the defense counsel has raised issues on count 1, all that has done is raise the question of fact for the trier of fact, which means that this will be for a jury or a judge to hear in Third Circuit. I pray for the healing of all the victims and young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact with you. As a community, we should look at this case as a prime example of how much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our black girls. I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by you. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered. Your bind over date is January 16th at 9 o'clock a.m. Anything else for the record?
I'll leave you with your thinking.
Do the right thing and tell us where she's at, please. I'm sorry, Judge. Just do it, Jarvis.
Where is she at, Jarvis?
Just tell us.
You don't got an over your Judge,
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to disrespect your court.
People hope they turn off the camera, please.
And this is why I can't do cases about children, because it is infuriating. Okay, so next up will be Jarvis Butts' trial. There isn't a date set yet, but I'm sure it's coming soon. And in the words of that judge, I wish for a speedy trial and for justice to be delivered.
So I have seen so many videos, just like a lot of you, about Neziah Harris. So before we even get started, 2 things. Number 1, if you do not know what's going on with this case regarding 13-year-old Neziah Harris, I ask that you pause this video, do a TikTok search. This is how you spell the name. Or do a Google search and familiarize yourself with what is going on. If you've seen the name or the hashtag and you're like, what is that about? Please just take a moment and research about it. I don't encourage you to go down a rabbit hole because it is triggering and it is disgusting, but just to give you an idea of what people are talking about, what is on a lot of people's minds, especially if you've seen it on your For You page and you're just not familiar with it. So that's the first thing. Second thing, this is my opinion. I have watched the videos, the think pieces, and the court documents, the witness testimony. But this is all just my opinion. So with that being said, my heart breaks about this case regarding Neziah Harris. And here's what breaks my heart. I've seen, like I said, a lot of the videos. I've seen a lot of the think pieces that you all have. And I agree with a lot of the things that you guys are saying. But what keeps coming back to my mind over and over and over again is, was there not just one person? Was there not just one person that loved this child enough to protect her? Was there not one? Because the more that comes out of this case, the more I realize nobody loved this child. You cannot convince me that the people in her life loved and cared about her. No one. Her dad, no. Her mom, no. Grandmother, hell no. Auntie, no one. And it's like, okay, now cousins are coming out the woodworks. But I'm thinking to myself, this child has been going through this. She's 13 since she was 11. So were y'all coming out the woodworks at 11? Because it's like, was there not just one person that would advocate for this little girl? And I say little girl because, yes, she is a child. Despite what, the family or whoever else is trying to paint the picture, she is a child. And another thing that I have noticed, and this happens way too often in our community, you have family members, the family, I totally believe, knew what was going on. And how many times have we seen that Big Mama knew that the uncle was doing something, knew the brother was doing something, knew the daddy was doing something, and they sweep it under the rug? Too often, too many generations have swept it under the rug, and it's rampant. And what kills me is, instead of them taking accountability, they blame the victim and call the victim fast, and never deal with the actual monster that is in the family. They protect them. And I'm seeing the same thing happen even now with this particular case. And again, this is just my opinion. A woman who is on the other side of the country watching this case, and I am just like, was there not just one person that loved this child enough to say, I'm going to protect this baby. I'm going to protect this child. And so you have the aunt giving testimony. The whole family disgusts me. I'm not the only one. The family just disgusts me. But I listened to the aunt's testimony, and they reading the text messages in a court. And the thing is, and I'm going to say this, jealousy does not know any age. What do I mean by that? You got grown women out here jealous of newborns because the newborns get more attention. You got grown men jealous of little kids because the kids get more attention, or the kids are more skilled than, the man. Jealousy knows no age. That aunt did not see that child as a child. She saw her as competition. You will never convince me that she did not see Neziah as competition. You will never convince me of that. Which is why she sides with Jarvis Butts. Jarvis Butts is the suspect in this case. She sides with him. That's why she's putting money on his books. And like she said out of her own mouth, when she met him at 19, he told her his past. So in the words of Aunt Maya Angelou, when a person tells you who they are, believe them. And she still chose to have 5 kids with him. And I'm not going to get into her looks. I'm not going to get into her size, because there are women who look similar to her. Some of us would say, oh, they look worse, and they never would have put up with this. So I don't think it has anything to do with looks. It has more to do with her character or lack thereof. But I also think it highlights the fact that this family has generational trauma that goes from one generation to the other to the other. And it's almost like when I'm listening to these think pieces, I'm saying to myself, this child didn't have a chance. As much as it breaks my heart to say that, she did not have a chance, because it's not as if there was someone in her life who was willing to say, I'm going to protect her. I'm going to cover her. And, you know, again, I believe with all my heart, Jarvis knows where she is. I believe the aunt knows where she is. And the thing with Jarvis is that if you look into his criminal history, we know that he's been in prison for essaying before. We know what he did with the 4-year-old. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please look it up. It's disgusting. But again, you've got, on some level, it's time to uncover these people. So this man has a lengthy criminal history. He has a history of messing with kids. And I believe with all my heart, Jarvis Butts knows he cannot go to general population. There's not a doubt in my mind he's going to be convicted. He's going to be convicted. But I believe with all my heart, he knows he cannot go into general population. That's what I believe. And so there is a part of me that believes that this man knows where that girl is, and he's using it as a last minute, like, wild card for a plea deal. That at the last minute, if he's convicted, when it comes time for sentencing or whatever, that's when he's going to pull it out. And that's when I believe he's going to use it. But I believe with all my heart, he knows where she is. And I'm glad to see that TikTok, in its last days, because we don't know what's going to happen, but I'm glad to see that TikTok is saying this girl's name over and over and over again. But my God, what would have happened if there had been just one person that loved her to protect her? What an amazing woman she could have turned into instead of becoming a hashtag. And there's two things that I feel Neziah Harris deserves. Number one, she deserves to be found. She deserves to be found, not laying in an unmarked whatever, unacknowledged. She deserves to be found. She deserves to have the respect of an actual burial. And number two, she deserves justice. For every single person who knew or had a feeling something was going on and they said nothing, she deserves for them to pay. And all of the Neziah Harrises in this country deserve justice, because she is not the only one. She's just the one whose name is popular right now on social media. That's my 2 cents.
What's up, everybody? All right, you guys. So as you know, we are discussing the case of Neziah Harris. And after I did my last video, I saw a lot of people had the question of, where is Neziah's bio dad? Okay, so Neziah's dad is a man by the name of Mervyn Jennings. And sadly, you guys, Mervyn did pass away in 2024. But there is a whole story behind Mervyn and why he wasn't in Neziah's life. So Mervyn did multiple interviews about a year ago, around the time that she first went missing. And in those interviews, he was saying that he had a wife and he cheated on his wife and had Neziah. So during all of this, he was also battling congestive heart failure. Now, it's a lot that I still don't understand. But from what he was saying, when Neziah's mother couldn't take care of her and, you know, he had his situation going on with his wife, he made the decision to sign his rights over to the grandmother. Now, he's saying that he hadn't seen Neziah for about 8 years before she went missing. And listen to what he had to say about a year ago when Neziah first went missing.
Only reconnected after 2 Detroit public schools police officers tracked him down.
When the last time you been up to your daughter's school? I said, my daughter's school. I said, I don't even know what school she go to. I said, I've been looking for her. And they looked at each other and I was like, what's going on? They said, your daughter's missing.
So I have a lot of questions about this situation, but like I said before, sadly, Mervyn has passed away. But another thing that Mervyn came out and said was he talked to Neziah's older brother at some point in time. And that older brother told him that the family knew Jarvis was doing something to Neziah ever since she was 12, which would contradict what the grandmother Annette and the aunt Shannon is saying. So there's a family member that came forward by the name of Roxy. And Roxy actually put this out last year when Neziah first went missing, but for some reason, all of this is coming out now.
So she has messages between her and Shannon, and these messages are from when Neziah first went missing. Now, one thing I have to point out is that address Balfour and Outer Drive. So in these messages, she brings up that Neziah asked her about that address, and then Roxy said, well, who lives there? Shannon says, we don't know. But listen to what Shannon says at that preliminary hearing when she details exactly who she used to pick up at that address.
No.
Do you know anybody at that location?
No, the only thing that I'm used to, I'm familiarized with just picking up Jarvis out of Drive in Belfort.
So when she went missing, you knew exactly who was at that address. You know your 13-year-old niece is missing, and you know she asked you about an address that you picked up Jarvis at. Why wouldn't you say this at first? And y'all, this message right here, I'm gonna let y'all put in that last word, but she's basically saying Neziah just wanted some. Not only did Shannon admit that she saw Instagram messages between Neziah and Jarvis, you knew before you got with this man he had a record, and you knew that he would harm children. Now, y'all, when I first covered this story, one thing that I wanted to point out was the fact that Neziah went missing on January 9th. They did not alarm police until that next day. But as we're going through the details, we learned that she met up with him, got in the car with him after school, went to the auto shop, stayed at the auto shop for hours. If somebody in that home had just said, okay, Neziah didn't get off the bus, let's go search around for her. This girl was alive for hours after she got off that bus. And y'all was just going ahead like nothing was going on instead of going out there and looking for her right then and there. Like, this is what people are talking about when they say that Neziah was failed. We know that Jarvis did this to her. We know that Jarvis is a monster. But if you knew that you were her guardian, you had custody over her, you was the person that was supposed to protect her. Why did you let this man around her? Now, I'm going to keep you guys updated as more information comes out. Let me say this. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. We're not accusing anyone of anything. But what are your thoughts in this case so far?
So I'm sorry for my appearance, but these new text messages that have been revealed between Jarvis Butts and Neziah Harris are absolutely, like, my stomach is on the floor. Like, I can't, yo. So basically, she saved him as my bae forever under the contact in her phone. She was telling him, didn't I make you see you in faster than ever? She was telling him basically that she's never going to cheat on him because he was asking her, you know, if she's seen other boys. She said, no, I would never do that. And then one time in particular, he said that, send me some pics. And she said, okay, she sent him some. And then after that, she said, I don't want to lose you, all these things. And then the sick thing is, in her mind, she was really in love with this man, and he's just a predator. You know what I'm saying? And so basically this other time she texted him and he said, I want some PUSSY to a 12-year-old, by the way. And he said that he's going upstairs, and then she said, okay, go give Shannon some so she can leave you alone, and then come downstairs and let me sit on it. This is just so disgusting and sickening to me because, like I said, this is a little girl that's been ruined by this man. And you could even read through the messages and see how he was using her to his advantage throughout the whole situation. And even Shannon knew about this. I really feel like Shannon, because why else would he go in the basement? How would no one in the house notice that?
So yeah, I'm stalking Neziah Harris's Instagram, and if you read the text messages, you would know, like, they will always like link up. She'll be at his shop. So I'm scrolling and I see videos of her literally at the shop. But on one of those days, it was the days where they linked up to do you know what.
She wrote the way, not so often. As a salad, I'm just smoking something much. She asked me if I do this every day. I said often. That's how many times she wrote the way, not so often.
It's just crazy how much evidence is on her page. Like, if you go on this little girl Instagram, she's literally singing fucking love songs to him. Like, he had her mind so twisted. Like, he manipulated that little girl, and that's so sad.